Hello, dear explorers. Here we are again talking about astrology and human design and dynamics in relationships. Today, we are going to talk about 39 and 55 and about new ways of looking at your charts and the compatibility between charts.
Yeah, this is a video we've done before, and today we had a long talk about it, what it means for us, and mostly for me to better understand it, to be honest. But yeah, we're gonna share a little bit about kind of revelations that we've had about it. I have 39 and she has 55.
So, in case you are for the first time on this channel, we already did a video about 1 year ago when 55 was active about the dynamics between 55 and 39, be it in human design, in astrology, or in gene keys. So, you can watch that one first if you feel like seeing both of them, and then this one will bring new layers of information. So being one of the channels we have together, we bridge together, we kind of explored how it feels like now after 1 year of living with it. So I will talk a bit about the astrology and the theoretical part, the human design and gene keys part, and then we'll share about bit about the dynamics between us. So 3955 is named the channel of emoting or the channel of romance. So it's a lot about the emotional wave and riding the emotional wave. And 55 is one of the most potent in emotional energy, and 39 is one that triggers this emotional response from 55. Astrological speaking, both of them are in water signs, 55 being in Pisces and 39 being in Cancer. So, again, both of them are in very emotional water signs. And in the gene keys, even if they are not partnering programs, they are very much related to this theme of freedom and awakening the freedom within.
Yeah, um, that's basically it. The long and short of it is she's like the freedom bringer. She 55 is like the true freedom sign, and 39 is the liberator. And we were looking back and talking about our relationship and how it came to be, and how how both of our lives changed since we met. Um, Adilla's life, self-admittedly, coming from her, not me, apparently felt unlocked in a way through, I guess, my energy and the 39. Um, and for me, when I first met her, obviously I didn't know anything about the gene keys. I didn't know anything about the unlocking energy. I didn't know anything about the liberator, the dynamism, or anything like that, or the provoker for that matter. Um, I was strictly just being who I was, and from that moment on, a lot of things changed, and I guess 39 can be looked at as sort of probing. Uh, Probing is sort of in the shadow frequency when you're being the provoker, but being a provoker is really not a positive thing because provoking someone is has quite a negative connotation. But I guess in the gift of the 39 is dynamism, and the realization we had about that today is that as I probed her about the life that she was living, and what I asked her actually some very basic questions about where she was at in your life and the relationship you were in, and if you were in a relationship or anything like that. And that in itself unlocked a lot of things. But as a 39, if if you unlock someone in the initial stage and you sort of you trigger something in them that helps them want to change, or like triggers something that makes them want to evolve, you can't leave it at that. And I think that's where the dynamism comes in. Um, you know, Adela self-admittedly had a lot of you had a lot of things you had to get through, and it was a slow, gradual process. Some could argue that you're still going through it, right? It's not,
especially getting out of the victim state that
yeah,
we many times talk about, because 55 has these layers of, oh, why does that happen to me?
right.
And yeah,
Yeah, and you can't, as a 39, you can't leave a person to be once you've liberated them. It's a reciprocating process. As you, the 39, you have to take what they give you, because they're not going to give you everything all at once. A person who is stuck in their ways or doing something is not going to instantly change their life overnight. It's a slow, gradual conversation. It's a dynamic, regurgitating process. And for me, I happen to really like her, and I just took what I got, right. And you work with what you have, and I didn't know I was having really any of a profound effect on her, and apparently, yeah, that for you is quite different.
So I'll talk about my 55 part, how that felt for me. I have the 55 two times. So when he came with his 39, an effect got produced over there. So I don't know how other people having 55 feel, but for me, this potential to be free always was there. I always felt like I am a bringer of freedom, and I'm a person that lives in a totally free space. But many times that free space felt like very, very much inside me. It was very difficult for me to just live that openly, freely, and with transparency. Transparency being the gift that 59 brings in this story, the programming partner of 55. So for me, that was quite, yeah, that was quite a surprise to feel that someone comes and provokes me in such an interesting way that the freedom just arises, just happens purely. And one of the reasons we felt like doing this video was to bring a bit more clarity or awareness on how compatibility might feel, or how the charts might be compatible in new ways, because I think many times we are used to look at compatibility in a very like fixed way. Oh, I'm a Gemini, he's a whatever, and we are a match or not. And if you look deeper, if you look into gene keys or human design, you might find new layers of why that person comes into your life. So for me, before being in a committed relationship with Oliver, it was this huge effect he had on me, on just a kind of awakening and a kind of process of just aligning me with my soul mission. So 55 is
Beyond a romantic sense and beyond just a purely like sexual sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
55 is activating my North Node that is related to the soul mission, and 39 is activating his Jupiter, or the pearl in Gene Keys. So it wasn't necessarily something just about, the dynamic of a couple. It was just, what's this? What happened here? So we wanted to bring awareness when you look at charts and when you look at compatibility, to just look at what's deeper than just the romantic spark. Maybe that person comes into your life to trigger a very deep inner process, and we are used to translate it as it should be romantic. If it's romantic, it should be just romantic, but maybe it's more than that. So after I met Oliver, for about 1 month or 2 months, I constantly had epiphanies on how I should do my astrology courses, what I should write. That's not a classical romantic response, but yeah, this is what it triggered in me. So freedom triggered in completely new ways. And yeah, we wanted to bring this. Is it something you want to say?
Yeah, I was and continue to be surprised when she tells me this, because I didn't think I had that effect, and I certainly wasn't planning on it. But what I do want to say is, when you, I guess, when you liberate someone like that, I mean, she's really like the freedom one. It's important to note the effect that you had on me after you had your epiphanies and you sort of metamorphosized into, I guess, this new phase of your life, and all the potential that it brings with it. Because obviously, then it had a profound effect on me. You've had an effect on me in how I look at the world, how I look at the more subtle aspects of life, including things like this in astrology, how I approach my eating, my health, my life, my work style, just how I approach my overall outlook on life, and that really elucidated my view of the world. Um, if you liberate someone like that, you give the gift to the world, right? She is, yeah, and and she has now the power through her work and her charm and her charisma to impact the world in much more profound ways towards liberty and freedom than I do. I mean, I kind of just unlocked her, right? And uh but it's not something that should be taken lightly. Maybe beyond the topic of this video, but there's a lot of skeletons in the closet for people when they have to go through these big changes. I certainly have them. Adela certainly has them, and for me, it was a bit of a shock as that was progressing, and that I'm still something that I'm still like coming to grips with. Is it's like you have like this little creature, right? That's in a certain state, and let's say you are the catalyst to make it metamorphosize, to change into a different state. But in that process, you see the nasty shell it leaves behind, and that can be very jarring. That's sort of my word of caution to someone that has this kind of relationship dynamic between a 39 and a 55. What that 55 leaves behind can be very troubling and disturbing. I'm not saying it has to be, but it can. And you as a 39, you have to be it's like you have to be responsible with it. It's with great power comes great responsibility. And obviously I wouldn't change anything, and I think, yeah, things have worked out tremendously well, and yeah, that's really the power dynamic of the 39 and the 55. It's the slow, gradual, dynamic back and forth until the 55 metamorphosizes and becomes something new, and then the 39 is left with this whole new thing. And what you do with it from that point on is really up to you, and between the two people involved. What's cool about this, I don't think this needs to be in any case a romantic relationship. I think the dynamic between 39 and 35 can be between a mother and a daughter, for example, or two close lifelong friends. I think this dynamic has the potential in pretty much every relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic.
Yeah.
And that's really just sort of my perspective on it, and sort of the revelation that I had over the last couple days.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, thank you for pointing that and for bringing the kick for me to start the transformation. I feel that people having 55, even if they realize it or not, have a great potential to change themselves and to change the world. And many times, with this contact with people having 39 brings us that kick, that kind of energy we need to just wake up from our victim state. And I don't know how it played for you having 55, but for me it never felt right when someone told me like, okay, I'll get out of your victim state, or just get over with it.
Prodding you.
Yeah, it never felt right. But the way Oliver came and the way I felt people with 39 provoked me in life, they understood. They were like, yeah, I get it. I get what you've been through, but now what? So bringing that dynamic process and giving me that opportunity to bring freedom, and maybe even for you having 55, this kind of dynamism they bring, they just make something happen. So yeah, I think it's a nice way of looking at it. So yeah, we wanted to bring this awareness, to look at the charts in a deeper way, and you can do this with any channel in your chart, and with all the activations. If you see you have specific activations, just give some time to see how they evolve. Maybe your chart is about bringing stories into life, or maybe it's about bringing creativity, or I don't know. Ours is a lot about bringing freedom, but maybe yours has another story. So
and as from, if you're the one in my perspective, you can't liberate and change someone in one day. It's like I said over and over. It's a long process, and it's a patient process, and oftentimes it's a process of love. You have to care and invest in that person, and then if you're true to your energy and they're true to their energy, you're gonna see some pretty amazing things happen. And but yeah, it's no one comes out of their shell overnight, and I could have easily just hung out with Adela and just leave it at that, and nothing would have come of it. She would have gone back to her life, I would have gone back to her life, my life, and I would have never known of my potential, and she would have never unlocked her potential. And yeah, it's, I guess, if you find yourself in a relationship with someone, when you have this dynamic, I think there's a great responsibility in the 39 to see if they can, if you love that person, like, put in the effort, and you don't have to try, really. It's literally just a work of love. It doesn't have, it's not provocation in the sense that you're actively trying to do something to that person. It's literally through the act of love and maintaining a discourse with that person. You would be amazed at what can happen. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And we are happy to know if you have this dynamic in your relationship and how it played in your life. Thank you.